Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now. I stayed up late last night, not that you would need to know that, other than I poured my heart into an article that's linked in this video's description titled, "Why Can't Microsoft Afford a Failure with Windows 8?" Now, I titled it that because I read some analysis on InfoWorld, an article titled, "Why Microsoft Can Afford to Lose with Windows 8." And I think that's BS. They can't afford to lose the game. We've talked about the Windows 8 consumer preview, which is for consumers, and yes, it is a preview, but if Windows Vista Beta 2 is any indication, Microsoft didn't change much between Beta 2 and the time that it went gold and shipped. So I'm not expecting many changes to come from Microsoft from the consumer preview to the RTM version, or release to manufacturing version of Windows 8. The big problem that a lot of people have with Windows 8 is that it's optimized for everything, even though every computer that it might run on may not have everything. Like, it's a different type of operating system on a touch-based computer than it is on a keyboard or other cursor input-driven device type of computer. So desktop or notebook computers versus touch computers, like tablets. The same version of Windows is running on each, and it's not really optimized for either one. But if it was optimized for one thing over the other, and I'm not the only one to say this, it would be for touch PCs. But there are not a lot of touch PCs out there, I mean, at least in the traditional sense. Consumers haven't really purchased them because a lot of them have sucked. The only tablet PC that anybody's bothered to buy these days, at least in mass quantities, has been this computer. This PC, right here, an iPad. And during the course of the live broadcast today, I will be unboxing the new iPad. But this is what Microsoft is afraid of. It ain't a Mac. It may not even be an iPhone. It's this. And it's obvious that Microsoft has serious iPad envy if you ever try Windows 8 on a touch screen. I mean, it works rather well until you smack into the classic desktop, and then you realize, I don't have a mouse or touchpad. I only have my finger as an input device, and it's inelegant to use the classic Windows experience like that. One of the reasons why a lot of tablet PCs failed. Number one, price. Number two, they just weren't usable. So I've detailed in great length why if Microsoft screws this up with Windows 8, consumers are going to start looking away. They might not even want a tablet PC, but that's what Microsoft has optimized Windows 8 for, is the tablet PC. They may already have one of these, or they may not want one of these. Or let's say they go into the store and they say, this one's $500, that PC's $1,500? What do? Well, they do the same thing. This one allows you to touch. Well, they both allow you to touch. Well, yes, but this one runs apps. Well, this one runs apps too. This one has cut the rope. Well, that one has cut the rope as well. Yeah. Microsoft is not making the right decisions here with Windows 8 if they keep moving this ball forward. They're hedging their bets. They are trying to move the ball forward with the new Metro experience, but it's like they have their foot behind the line of scrimmage while they're trying to move the ball forward by trying to support legacy or backwards compatibility. It's going to be very interesting to see how this is going to play out. I don't think a lot of consumers are going to pick up Windows 8. Yes, if they buy a new PC, Windows 8 will come with it. Or maybe they'll just stick with Windows 7 for the long haul, like they skipped Vista or Millennium Edition, or got rid of it as soon as they realized this is not something they want, and then move back to, say, Windows XP. Or maybe they'll move back from 8 to 7. The problem is, these are very enticing at $500, and when you think of a tablet PC, what's the brand you think about? Well, the average consumer thinks iPad. If Microsoft lets their market share slip, Windows is just going to find itself pushed further and further onto the sidelines. Not just for consumers, but for enterprise as well. Now, this doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight, but just look at the history. We've got a lot more choices today than we had when Windows Vista shipped. When Windows Vista shipped, it was like, No, I'm going back to XP. And a lot of people did. Many people are still with Windows XP. Well, now that Windows 8 ships, if you don't like the experience, what are you going to do? Well, you can go back to Windows 7. Or, well, there's also Ubuntu. And Ubuntu 12, right around the corner, is actually pretty decent. Very usable. It's not your... I should say it's not yesterday's Ubuntu. I mean, it's still in beta today. But Ubuntu 12... it's going to make for a very decent operating system. So it's not just about, well, I'm going to move to Mac. There are better alternatives to Windows. And here's the thing, guys. I don't know if you realize this. You don't need Windows as much as you used to. Windows needs you more than you need it. If you'd like to look at the rest of my perspective and explanations, I've detailed them extensively in the article. The bottom line is, I don't think Microsoft can afford to let Windows 8 be a failure. There are too many other options in the marketplace. These things are gateway drugs. I'm not kidding. An iPad today, a Mac tomorrow, an iPhone next week. You don't allow customers to slip away, especially when there are better choices in the marketplace. No, I'm not mad. I'm just trying to make a point. I want Microsoft to succeed with this. If I didn't, I wouldn't even bother talking about it, and I certainly wouldn't have lost sleep writing this article. So if you are a Windows fan, a Microsoft fan, you owe it to yourself to take a look and realize Microsoft is making some serious mistakes in the way that they're implementing Windows 8 today. Let's hope the consumer preview changes dramatically before Windows 8 ultimately ships. Oh, I hope. Take a look at the article. Let me know what you think.